Hello, my name is Jim Hageman. I was raised as a Baptist in Urbana, Illinois, but at age 30 in 1972, we moved to Las Cruces, New Mexico, and I became a Lutheran. My wife and I have belonged to a number of Lutheran churches. We were in New Mexico, as I said before, around 27 years we belonged to the Lutheran church there. And when we moved to Mount Pleasant, Michigan, we became a member here. Following that, we spent 5 years in Denver, and we were a member at St. Paul's in downtown Denver. And then we moved back here, and altogether we have been a member of Emmanuel Lutheran Church in Mount Pleasant for 14 years. For 29 years, I was a professor of biochemistry at New Mexico State University. During that time, I had undergraduates, graduate students, postdocs, and technicians working in my laboratory, and I was teaching a full complement of chemistry and biochemistry courses. Biochemistry teaches about the molecular mechanisms that determine how cells live and how higher organisms therefore live. So it gets down to the molecular level of the process. It's called metabolism is the general term describing all the interactions that go on in the cell. I particularly studied the bacterium called Bacillus subtilis, which is a common soil bacterium. It's the bacterium that's used to produce enzyme detergents and a great variety of other industrial products. One of its capabilities is to form a spore inside the cell when conditions get bad. And my research work focused on trying to understand how this spore can possibly form. Scientists are known probably for their hyper-rational approach to everything. But as you study complex organisms, the complexity is so great. It's a little like, in the microscopic world, it's a little like studying the heavens. They just seem unending. And the level, getting down to the level of the molecules seems unendingly complicated. And so there's, you know certain things and you only approach the truth. You never just know everything about the cell. So there's always an element of mystery in studying any biological material. And I think the Christian mystics found the same sort of thing in God. There's a mystery and an unknowability, and I found the same thing to be true in studying biochemistry. I've been most surprised by students who come to me after I've given a lecture on evolution, which any biochemistry course has to touch on because biology only makes sense in terms of evolution. Otherwise, it's like studying pebbles of sand on the beach. There's no connectivity. But evolution ties everything together. And having gone through those lectures many times, very often a student will come up and confront me with the fact that what I just said contradicts everything that they know from Genesis. And I try as gently as possible to tell them that there are different ways of reading the Bible and different ways of getting truth out of the Bible. And if they paid particular attention to the Genesis stories, they would discover that in the first Genesis story, let's say giraffes were created before elephants. And in the second one, butterflies get created before anything. I'm just making this up, of course. But the fact of the matter is the two stories don't connect. Does that mean they're nonsense or not true? No, it means they're profoundly true, that God acted. And so my challenge, I guess my surprise in talking to students is trying to get them to understand that many things are true that didn't literally happen. And that's true of many stories in the Bible. A favorite quote of mine is from Marcus Borg. The Bible is true, and some of the stories actually happened. I have tried to share my science in both at Emmanuel in an adult forum, and also in Denver when we were there in a similar adult forum, talking about DNA and the nature of DNA and how it mutates and how that causes changes to appear randomly and how natural selection works. So I have tried to get across the point that the rational approach that scientists take, in my mind, is not in conflict with faith. Science is one way of knowing things. Faith, through experience and through actions that we take, gives us another way of knowing, and I don't find those to be in conflict. Yeah, I was raised by people who were scientists and went to church their whole lives, and I knew lots of people at Illinois, lots of friends of my parents, who were practicing in various churches, belonged to different denominations, but they were active in their churches, but they were also scientists. And the conflict didn't arise. I think it arises with those people who think that they are going to know everything, that there's no mystery left in anything. And that simply isn't true. It would be my way of viewing it. I think our knowledge of God emerges. It emerges. It doesn't. We don't have it all at once. We don't get God. I don't think. Just we have God now. We got God. Here I've got God. He's trapped in this mask. No, that's not the way it is. It's as you live and you experience things, and as a scientist, as you look at things, if you get down into the minutia of how cells live, it's awesome. Life is so tenacious. It's been on the earth for 3 billion years, more than 3 billion years. It's so tenacious. And during that 3 billion years, conditions were horrendous compared, from our point of view, they would be uninhabitable. Yet life clung to a rock, clung to the bed of the ocean floor, and evolved. And so I think as things evolved, as life evolved, and as humans appeared, we see that wonder. We have that sense of wonder and mystery that God is there and is emerged from all of this. So, and I think God is love is as close as we get right at the moment, thanks to Jesus.